go over the results of last week's scrimmage?
Holy cow, that was a long time ago now. I'm trying to think. It was good. We stayed healthy, which is the most important part to me. I don't think we have any serious injury concerns at this point, which is positive. Got a lot of reps out of it and getting guys really, to me, we're kind of transitioning. This week's a big transition week into getting ready for the game. Out of training camp, because training camp really ended last week. Saturday morning ended training camp. In my mind, that practice, and now it's kind of transition week this week between training camp and game week. And guys learning how to be on a scout team, how to kind of get a little bit more game specific with things instead of just overall installations and all those things. But we're going to still get some situational work, some of that stuff to get cleaned up. This week, look at everything we haven't done, and then transition full go into next week's game week, because it's a tricky transition. I mean, for what will it be, 25 and 15? It's 40, and then 15. So I think we're 55 practices after this week, playing one game, and with the bowl game last year, 55 practices with one game, and now there's going to be a game every 4 practices. So it's kind of really getting used to that transitional mindset.
You talked about everyone staying healthy as a coach. What goes through your mind during the scrimmages to try to prevent those injuries when you hear around the country guys tearing ACLs and those major injuries? Can you prevent it, or how do you?
It's a fine line, you got to manage your team. You got to get them ready to play. You got to be physically ready to play. You got to physically be tough. And injuries happen. Injuries are, unfortunately, are a part of the game. You're hoping you're not doing things to put guys in adverse situations, but you can have an ACL with a guy jogging down the field of practice and just plants wrong. It's probably dangerous going to class. You roll your ankle off the side of the curb or something like that. Any of those type of situations can be dangerous. So you just, what you're hoping to do is to avoid preventable injuries. I think that's the big thing, is you're always evaluating, are we doing things that is going to help prevent injuries and making sure that we're not putting guys in dangerous situations. And so that's what you look for in a scrimmage, make sure we get guys ready to play a game, but also hopefully keep guys out of dangerous situations.
Talking about injuries, how has Des Harris bounced back?
He's done well. I think missing spring ball obviously hurts for him. I haven't been out for a while right now, and that's a big learning curve. So he kind of missed a whole cycle in your development. And but I think he's doing well. You got to get him on special teams and get him some reps in the game and see, and hopefully he continues to grow and develop. And as time goes on, and he'll recover from missing that time in spring.
And having an injury in high school as well, what do you think his mentality is after having 2 knee injuries?
I don't know. Don't have another one.
You mentioned last time when we were talking about the offensive line, where you get to the point where you try to make sure you got 8 or 9 ready, and at that time you were getting 15, 16 guys reps. Not just offensive line, but at what point do you start focusing on the guys you want ready for Southern Miss?
Well, we're starting to limit that now. The training camp's over. You know what I mean? But we're still getting everybody reps because it's a long season. You got a lot of guys have to be ready to play. So like I said, this is the transition week. So you're starting now. There's parts of practice where you're kind of focusing on getting guys ready, and there's parts of practice where everybody's still getting reps, and it goes back and forth. And next week it'll kind of go to all guys getting ready to play the game.
Your thoughts on the offensive line with the new guys and how they're doing so far in camp?
They're coming along. We got to stay healthy. That's going to be a huge deal because you got a lot of young guys. We want to control. I'd love us to control their development, not uncontrollable circumstances to control their development of when they're forced to get on the field to play. So for us, it's a lot of that we want to be able to control their development all the way through and not be forced to have to play somebody maybe before he's totally ready to play.
What signs have the players showed you that they're ready to play the games, that they're ready for games?
I just think everybody's, you work this hard to get ready. You're just kind of getting sick of practicing in some of it. But I do think the leadership, we talk one thing, you can't get bored of repetition of practice. You always got to get better. And the leadership's got to do a great job of that. And I think they really have. The older guys on the team have done a good job of keeping the focus. The important one is to get that focus away from practice now into getting ready to go play for a game. With a lot of young guys now, we have a lot of guys that have played, but there's also a large number of guys that haven't played, and that transition, of how to prepare for a game. They may have seen it, but they've never had to do it, and now they're going to have to do it, and the older guys are going to have to do a great job in leadership. You look at our schedule, there's no, a lot of people play some easy games to start off, and we're playing a big in-state rivalry that, on a national stage might not look like a huge game, but I know in the state of Mississippi it's a huge game. And then one of the top teams in the country, week 2. You don't have that breather that a lot of teams have starting the season off. So the older guys got to make sure younger guys are prepared right from day one in knowing how to get ready for a game when you have to get on the field.
Have any of the specialists, not just the kickers, but their tournament as well, started to separate themselves?
No, they're all pretty much a team. They stick together. I don't. That's not something I even look at to game week. We get statistical analysis of every kick, everything that's made, and then make a decision in game week.
Have you seen with Fitzgerald, obviously can play this year and battle for that number 2 role? Have you seen his mindset kind of change forcibly or already change?
No, you got to have the right mindset to even have a chance to play quarterback. So I thought that's been pretty good. I think you're seeing a different grasp of the offense. There's no more guessing. There's no more just trying to make plays. You better know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. And but he's going to be one of those guys. Right now he's got to get ready to go be the starting. He's a starting quarterback. He could be a snap away from being the starter. And has never prepared for a game. He's watched last year how guys prepared for a game, but he's never personally prepared for a game. And so there's a lot that goes into that and making sure that you're ready to get to hit the field and play.
Through the 40, 50 practices in the offseason, how satisfied are you heading into the game planning for Southern Miss?
I'm never satisfied with anything. I always want to be better. But I'm not disappointed. Hard to satisfy me right there when it comes to that. I have pretty high expectations and standards of what we want our team to look at. I'm not disappointed with anything, but I think there's always things we got to continually work, continue to improve, continue to get better. But I like our team.
I know it's tough to sort of project what individuals are going to do once the season starts, but just as a person, it seems like Nick James has kind of made some strides lately.
Yeah, he's come a long way as a player. And it's program development. He's had a lot to change. Socially, a lot to change academically, a lot to change physically, and a lot to change as a football player. But if you look at somebody, if you see overall change in a human being like that, he's someone that's really bought into the program to me. Now, not saying he's arrived, but I think he's bought into the program, and you've seen how it's changed every aspect of his life. That's really, in the end, that's what the program's about. Is the program here at Mississippi State is about developing young men to become champions in life, and and we talk about that all the time. If we get the opportunity to win a championship, fantastic. Get the opportunity to go be an NFL player, fantastic. But the program is about developing you to be a champion in life, and developing you and teaching you lessons and give you a foundation of success for every aspect of your life for the rest of your life. And if we accomplish that, and the young men buy into that, and they've accomplished that, then they've succeeded in the program.
What have you seen from the defense with learning Manning's system and getting comfortable with it from the spring to training camp? What carryover?
Well, I think there's carryover, obviously, a lot from what we've done in the past to a point, and then there's the subtle differences, and it's just, with new faces. So there's some guys, obviously, transition is pretty simple. Saying, hey, we're tweaking this way just a little bit. That's easy for some older veteran player, like a Kendrick Market at Fez Calhoun, Will Redmond, Ryan Brown that's played a lot of football, Beniquez Brown that's played a lot of football. They understand the game. The young guys, they're looking okay. It's almost like starting new because they hadn't mastered any, the original aspect of it, and now they're learning just the tweak of it. So it's really just learn how to do it this way now, and you don't have a foundation of anything to build on from the past because you're kind of a new guy. And, and then learn how to apply that and get ready to hit the field.